We thought we were indestructible. The Lords of Iron. We swore we would do anything to protect the last city. Some of us paid the ultimate price.
Alex Newhouse, Destiny Rise of Iron was revealed to us this morning in a Bungie live stream.
At Tran, yes it was.
Yes it was. And it sort of showed us what Destiny has in store for the sort of next 6 months or so. So we're going to go through what we know, what we learned, and the trailer that we saw, and sort of give our sort of impressions of it. So Alex, initial thoughts?
It does seem to be shaping up as a pretty big content expansion, and I mean, the stuff they're showing off seems super cool and super different, which is really important to me.
Yeah, I have to say it wasn't that exciting. It wasn't that exciting to me. I wasn't blown away by it, but it seems like there's going to be enough content there for me to sort of get back into Destiny. It seems Taken King-like style. So let's go through some of the specifics. So the setting you mentioned, way more natural environment. There's lots of snow. There's like a mountain.
Yeah.
It's a lot less alien-ish.
Yeah, it's on the Cosmodrome, or not. The Cosmodrome is on Earth. It's on Earth. The Rise of Iron setting is also on Earth. I think that's super cool. You know, when you think of Destiny, you think of big alien constructs and alien enemies and just things that aren't Earth-like. And this is really getting grounded into something that seems like it's Earth-like.
Yeah, so they emphasized a lot of the lore and sort of the origins of the Iron Lords who run the Iron Banner tournament. And they're talking a lot about a wall that falls and sort of a new enemy that comes from behind that wall.
Yeah, so if you remember, Lord Saladin runs the Iron Banner, and he looks like he's running, you know, the quest to Rise of Iron as well.
Yeah.
And the lore is basically the Iron Lords were keeping the plague out, and then the Iron Lords died. And now the plague, which are these mutated forms of the fallen enemies, have broken through the wall and have infected this entire new zone.
Yeah, and they look really cool, I must say. We only got a glimpse of maybe one of the bosses and a few of the sort of low-level mobs, but they look like sort of cyberpunk, like robot things, which is a nice variation.
And I mean, it is slightly disappointing that the two new enemies they've introduced so far in the life of Destiny have both been sort of just changed forms of old enemies. But the plagued Fallen do look really cool. They're like walking on stilts and have these crazy like knives, and
they actually look interesting as opposed to the Taken, who are just like black and white versions of existing enemies, essentially.
Yeah, they do show off a couple of the bosses. One of them you didn't think looked great.
No. Yeah, the first sort of, it seemed like it was a strike boss or something like that. It wasn't a very particularly interesting dude. He was kind of like a robot thing with like metal plating, with like a sort of railgun of some sort. I wasn't too into him. But what they did show that was cool was the what we assume is a raid boss, which looked like this giant mechanical contraption, this like sort of construction vehicle that was like chasing after 6 Guardians, and it looked like a really fun encounter where one of those things where you just run like hell and like try and shoot back as quickly as you can when you ever get the opportunity. Okay, and let's talk about some of the new weapons. Obviously, they showed off a flaming hammer, so not exactly like the Titan's flaming hammer from Taken King, but more like a sort of Crota-style weapon.
Yeah, if you remember the swords from the base game that you would get in specific missions, it's sort of like that. It's an encounter-specific weapon, but it looks badass. Like, it's this massive flaming battle axe, and like they show the character coming in swinging with it, and it looks really cool and looks really fun.
New armor sets. We got a glimpse of some of the new armor sets and new guns. They kind of just look like colorful things to me.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the best things Destiny does is the armor, just how unique it all looks and how colorful and crazy the exotic armor sets look, and this is no different.
And in terms of weapons, we should probably address the elephant in the room, which is the return of the Gala Horn.
Yeah, all right. What do you think about this?
Okay, so what they're doing is they are making the Gala Horn available for all players to forge or construct through a quest. And if you pre-order it, you can get the Iron Gala Horn, which is basically a monochromatic themed version of that. So the Gala Horn in the base game was this exceptionally rare rocket launcher that was overpowered. You'd shoot a rocket, it'd home in, and then it'd split into 8 more rockets and, do extra damage. And it was only available for purchase on the very first week of Destiny's release. and sort of its rarity became almost mythical. So this was like the shining light that you were always chasing in Destiny. Like if you got a Gala Horn, you were set. That was the gun that you used,
and it was very much like the best weapon in the game. I think Bungie admits that, and the one disappointing thing about this, to me at least, is in the Twitch stream they show that montage of everyone getting the Gala Horn drop and freaking out.
I just saw a Gala Horn pop up!
And then they're like, oh yeah, if you pre-order it, you get it.
Yeah.
You know, they're making the best gun in the game into a pre-order bonus.
Yeah, that's right. It definitely loses any kind of special aura that it might have had when you know that it is a very easily attainable weapon.
And hey, at least, you know, the Gala Horn is still super fun to use.
It's still super fun to use, and it looks really cool. It's definitely the best looking gun in the game.
Absolutely. What do you think about the social space?
The social space I quite like. Like we were saying before, the natural environments are really nice. And they were, in the live stream, they were emphasizing how much of a sort of rustic feel they were going for. Because, you know, the tower is very clinical and, you know, futuristic, and the reef was kind of like industrial, I guess. This one seems to be a more calming, like rocky space with the mausoleum you were mentioning before.
It's a mausoleum to the Iron Lords that died in a cataclysm that we don't really know about yet. But that's the social space. I think it looks really cool. My one concern is now we're going to have 3 social spaces.
Yeah, and
what are they going to do?
That's a
with
lot
that?
of flying back to orbit.
Yeah.
That is not a fun part of Destiny.
And I think a lot of people would probably prefer if all the vendors were in one place. Like, as it is, some are split between the reef and the tower, and it's kind of a pain to have to fly to the tower, then fly to the reef, and then, you know, probably fly back to the tower.
And one more thing we should mention is that they're not releasing this expansion on last-gen consoles. So PS3 and 360, although they did have Destiny in its first iteration, and it did have they did have all those expansion packs, they're not putting it on those old consoles. It's just the new stuff. What do you think about that?
This will be super disappointing for the people who were playing on 360 and PS3, which is a substantial number of people. But at the same time, it's about time that they move to the PS4 and Xbox One.
There needs to be a point in the consoles generation where we need to move on. I mean, the PS4 and 360 have been out for 10 years now. And they need to say no at a certain point. I have no particularly sort of strong feelings about this, but...
Right. And with a lot of Bungie's resources probably directed towards Destiny 2, you know, they can only direct the resources at so many different things. And taking out the 360 and PS3, which is probably a pretty significant problem in development at this point, gives them more leeway to actually focus on this.
I'm guessing, you know, although it will sting for people who played Destiny on PS3 and 360, you know, there must have been some sort of research that Bungie did that said, no, like 80% of our player bases are all on next gen as well.
Or they're not buying expansions.
Or they're not buying expansions or something like that. So we didn't get too many details, but we got enough of a taste of Rise of Iron. Hopefully we'll find out more at E3 next week, Alex.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Rise of Iron comes out on September 20th for Xbox One and PS4, and I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting the Destiny clan back together.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed there's no dogs, though.
Me too. I mean, they do show wolves in the
trailer,
but
there's still hope yet.
Yeah.